Kunja Bihari. Jan Vishnupad Paramamsa Parvajikacharya Astu Tarasata Shishimar. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jan Vishnupad Paramamsa Parvajikacharya Astu Tarasata Shishimar. Sringa Guru Shili Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Anantakoti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Premsa Gol Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Mayapur Dham Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Jamuna Maya Ganga Maya Ki Jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Drantraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan Jaga Ki Jai. Transcendental Prasadam Distribution Ki Jai. Jagannath Rath Yatra Ki Jai. Gaura Premananda Hare Haribo. All glories to all the Sema devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to all the Sema devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to all the Sema devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Sri Guru Sri Gauranga. Glory to Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Vita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Vita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Vita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai. So we're reading from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 19. This is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions to Srila Rupa Goswami. And we're going to be reading from, if we can make it, from 150 all the way to 162. So hopefully we'll get 12 verses done. But today's topic is going to be about Bhakti Lata. Actually, Prabhupada just translates the word Lata as the creeper of devotional service. So it's so very nice. So actually the title of the class could be all kinds of things. You know, from the seed, nurturing the seed, to the fruit, the journey of Krishna consciousness, the path of pure devotion, sowing the seeds of devotion, transcending the material universe, divine gardening, cultivating Krishna in the heart, beyond the Viraja river, and then from Guru's grace to Krishna's lotus feet. So this is all about watering the seed, Lord Chaitanya's teachings. So this is our ultimate goal, is to attain the darshan of Krishna. So that's it. Sorry, there's a spider. Okay, so let's dive right into it. So in this Madhya Lila, actually chapters 19 to 25, this is where Lord Chaitanya, before returning to Puri, he systematically educates Rupa and Sanatana Goswami in the science of devotional service. And then he sends them to Vrindavan with a plan to establish and organize the Sankirtan movement. So he wanted to have a systematic documentation. And because Lord Chaitanya was traveling very extensively, very inspirational public chanting, had very fruitful philosophical dialogues, Lord Chaitanya, he generated a widespread appreciation of the Sankirtan movement. And then next, it was a crucial need to systematically document and organize his mission. And why did he want to do that? To establish a uniform standards and consistency among followers in different geographical locations. And then to preserve the purity and authenticity of the process for generations to come. and then to facilitate wider proliferation of the Nam Sankirtan movement. So this is what he did. So he actually inspired or enlightened Rupa and Sanatana Goswami into this knowledge. And this is what we read in their teachings, like the Nectar Devotion and things like that. So this is very important. So the first verse, actually before that, let's just see where we're at here. This is a breakdown of the whole chapter. This is from the Chaitanya Subodhini by Gauranga Darshan Prabhu. So I just took this from his book. So that he breaks it down into all the different sections of the chapter, the different verses and what they say. So, but we don't have time to go into all this, but this is where we're at right here. Lord Chaitanya's teachings to Srila Rupa Goswami. And then we're just focusing on these verses here, like 150 to 163 actually. So this is the process of cultivating Krishna Bhakti, the Bhakti Lata Bija. So this is so nicely. So it's like the seed of devotion. And he talks about the fortunate soul, he attains the seed of this Bhakti Lata. And how? By the mercy of the Guru and Krishna. So that's Guru Krishna Prasad. And then Chaitanya explains how this seed sprouts and fructifies over time, provided it's very carefully cultivated and protected. So throughout this, just this section that we're going to read between 150 and 163, it's so many metaphors, very nicely described, like the Bhakti Lata Bij, the weeds, the elephant, talks about the witch of material desires, so many different things. So it's very nicely described. And then it describes all the different developments of how it develops the seed, which we'll be reading about. So the first verse is actually from the Srimad Bhagavatam, so I guess we could chant this verse. Muktanam api siddhanam Narayana Parayana Sadurlabha Prasanatma Kotishvapi Mahamune Muktanam api siddhanam Narayana Parayana Sadurlabha Prasantatma Koti Swapi Mahamune Muktanam api siddhanam Narayana Parayanaha Sadurlabha Prasantatma Koti Swapi Mahamune. We just have one person chant on each side, if you want. Otherwise, we could go on. Okay. So we'll skip the word meanings. Translation, O great sage, out of many millions of materially liberated people who are free from ignorance, and out of many millions of siddhas who have nearly attained perfection, there is hardly one pure devotee of Narayana. Only such a devotee is actually completely satisfied and peaceful. Purport. This verse is quoted from the Srimad Bhagavatam 6.14.5. The Narayana Parayana, the devotee of Lord Narayana, is the only blissful person. One who becomes a Narayana Parayana is already liberated from material bondage. He already possesses all the perfections of yoga. Unless one comes to the platform of Narayana Parayana and passes over the platform of Bhukti Mukti Siddhi, he cannot be fully satisfied. That is a pure devotional stage. Anyabhilasita sunyam janmadi karmani andavritam anukulena krishnanu silalam bhakti uttama. One who desires nothing but Krishna and who is not influenced by the process of jnana marga, cultivation of knowledge, actually becomes free from ignorance. A first-class person is one who is not influenced by karma, fruit of activity, or yoga, mystic power. He simply depends on Krishna and is satisfied in his devotional service. According to Srimad Bhagavatam 6:17-28, Narayana para sarvana kutasjana bibhyati. Such a person is never afraid of anything. For him, heaven and hell are the same. Not knowing the situation of a Narayana Parayana, rascals become envious. By the grace of Narayana, a devotee is situated in the most opulent position in the material world. Rascals are envious of Narayana and his devotee. But the devotee endeavors to please another devotee of Narayana because he knows that by pleasing Narayana's representative, one directly pleases Lord Narayana. Therefore, a devotee offers the best comforts and facilities to his spiritual master. Outsiders who have no knowledge of Narayana are envious of both Narayana and his devotee. Consequently, when they see that Narayana's devotee is opulently situated, they become even more envious. But when the devotee of Narayana asks such a foolish people to come and live with him in the same comfortable situation, they do not agree because they cannot give up illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling. Therefore, the materialist refuses the company of the Narayana Parayana, although he is envious of the devotee's material situation. In Western countries, when ordinary men, storekeepers, and workers see our devotees living and eating sumptuously and yet not working, they become very eager to know where they get the money. Such people become envious and ask, how is it possible to live so comfortably without working? How is it you have so many cars, bright faces, and nice clothes? Not knowing that Krishna looks after his devotees, such people become surprised and become envious. So text 151. Brahmananda Brahmate Konya Bhagavanji Guru Krishna Prasadi Pai Bhakta Lata Bij. According to their karma, all living entities are wandering throughout the entire universe. Some of them are being elevated to the upper planetary systems, and some are going down to the lower planetary systems. Out of many millions of wandering living entities, one who is very fortunate gets an opportunity to associate with a bona fide spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. By the mercy of both Krishna and the spiritual master, such a person receives the seed of the creeper of devotional service. This is a very popular verse. It's quoted, the entire verse is quoted about over 100 times in Prabhupada's books. And just the reference part, with part of the verse, it's quoted over about 340 times. So it's a very powerful verse. Purport. When we speak of Brahmanda, we refer to the whole universe or to the cluster of many millions of universes. In the universes, there are innumerable planets, and there are innumerable living entities upon those planets, in the air, on land, in the water. There are millions and trillions of living entities everywhere, and they're engaged by Maya in suffering and enjoying the results of their fruitive activity, life after life. This is the position of the materially conditioned living entities. Out of many millions of these living entities, one who's actually fortunate, Bhagavan, becomes in contact with a bona fide spiritual master by Krishna's mercy. Krishna is situated in everyone's heart, and if one desires something, Krishna fulfills one's desire. If the living entity by chance or fortune comes in contact with Krishna consciousness movement and wishes to associate with that movement, Krishna, who is situated in everyone's heart, gives him the chance to meet a bona fide spiritual master. This is called Guru Krishna Prasad. Krishna is prepared to bestow his mercy upon all living entities, and as soon as the living entity desires the Lord's mercy, the Lord immediately gives him an opportunity to meet a bona fide spiritual master. Such a fortunate person is fortified by both Krishna and the spiritual master. He is helped from within by Krishna and from without by the spiritual master. Both are prepared to help the sincere living being become free from material bondage. Continue the purport. How one can become this fortunate can be seen in the life of Sri Narada Muni. In his previous life, he was born of a maidservant. Although he was not born into a prestigious position, his mother was fortunately engaged in rendering service to some Vaishnavas. When these Vaishnavas were resting during the Chaturmasya period, the boy Narada took the opportunity to engage in their service. Taking compassion upon the boy, the Vaishnavas offered him the remnants of their food. By serving these Vaishnavas and obeying their orders, the boy became the object of their sympathy. And by the Vaishnavas' unknown mercy, he gradually became a pure devotee. In the next life, he was Narada Muni, the most exalted of Vaishnavas and the most important guru and acharya of the Vaishnavas. Following in the footsteps of Narada Muni, this Krishna consciousness movement is rendering service to humanity by giving everyone a chance to come in contact with Krishna. If one is fortunate, he becomes intimately related with this movement. Then by the grace of Krishna, one's life becomes successful. Everyone has dormant Krishna bhakti, love for Krishna. And in the association of good devotees, that love is revealed. As stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 22, 107, Nityasera Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabhanaya Shravanadi Suri Chitta Karya Udaya. Dormant devotional service to Krishna is within everyone. Simply by one's associating with devotees, hearing their good instructions, and chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, dormant love for Krishna is awakened. In this way, one acquires the seed of devotional service. Guru Krishna Prasadi Pai Bhakti Lata Bija. Okay, text 152. Malihane kare se bija ropana, Shravana kirtana jale karaye sechana. When a person receives the seed of devotional service, he should take care of it by becoming a gardener and sowing the seed in his heart. If he waters the seed gradually by the process of Shravana and Kirtana, hearing and chanting, the seed will begin to sprout. Purport. To live with devotees or to live in a temple means to associate with the Shravana Kirtana process. Sometimes neophyte devotees think that they can continue to the Shravana Kirtana process without worshiping the deity. But the execution of such Shravana Kirtana is meant for highly developed devotees like Haridas Thakur, who engaged in the Shravana Kirtana process without worshiping the deity. However, one should not falsely imitate Haridas Thakur and abandon deity worship just to try to engage in Shravana Kirtana. This is not possible for neophyte devotees. The Guru Prasad indicates that the spiritual master is very merciful in bestowing the boon of devotional service upon the disciple. That is the best possible gift the spiritual master has to offer. Those with the background of pious life are eligible to receive life's supreme benefit. And to bestow this benefit, the Supreme Personality of Godhead sends his representative to impart his mercy. Endowed with the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the spiritual master distributes the mercy of those who are elevated and pious. Thus, the spiritual master trains his disciples to render devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is called Guru Kripa. It is Krishna Prasad, Krishna's mercy, that he sends a bona fide spiritual master to the deserving disciple. By the mercy of Krishna, one meets the bona fide spiritual master, and by the mercy of the spiritual master, the disciple is fully trained in the devotional service of the Lord. Bhakti Lata Bija means the seed of devotional service. Everything has an original cause or seed. For an idea, program, plan, or device, there is first of all the contemplation of the plan, and that is called the bija, or seed. The methods, rules, and regulations by which one is perfectly trained in devotional service constitute the Bhakti Lata Bija, or seed of devotional service. This Bhakti Lata Bija is received from the spiritual master by the grace of Krishna. Other seeds called Anya Balasita Bija include Karma Bija, Jnana Bija. If one is not fortunate enough to receive the Bhakti Lata Bija from the spiritual master, he instead cultivates such seeds as Karma Bija, Jnana Bija, or political or social or philanthropic Bijas. However, the Bhakti Lata Bija is different from these other Bijas. The Bhakti Lata Bija can be received only through the mercy of the spiritual master. Therefore, one has to satisfy the spiritual master to get the Bhakti Lata Bija. Yasha Prasadat Bhagavat Prasada. The Bhakti Lata Bija is the origin of devotional service. Unless one satisfies the spiritual master, he gets the bija, or root cause, of karma, jnana, and yoga without the benefit of devotional service. But one who is faithful to his spiritual master gets the Bhakti Lata Bija. This Bhakti Lata Bija is received when one is initiated by a bona fide spiritual master. After receiving the spiritual master's mercy, one must repeat his instructions. And this is called Shravana Kirtana, hearing and chanting. One who has not properly heard from the spiritual master or does not follow the regulative principles is not fit for chanting Kirtana. This is explained in the Bhagavad Gita 241. Vyavyasa yatmika buddhir eka kuru nandana. One who has not listened carefully to the instructions of the spiritual master is unfit for chanting or for preaching the cult of devotional service. One has to water the Bhakti Lata Bij by receiving instructions from the spiritual master. Text 153. This is weird, let me see. Upai jaya bade late brahmandante bediyaya viraja brahmana loke bedi paravyoma paya. As one waters the Bhakti Lata Bija, the seed sprouts and the creeper gradually grows to the point where it penetrates the walls of this universe and goes beyond the Viraja river, lying between the spiritual world and the material world. It attains Brahmaloka, the Brahman effulgence, and penetrating through that stratum, it reaches the spiritual sky and the spiritual planet, Goloka Vrindavan. Purport. A creeper generally takes shelter of a big tree, but the Bhakti Lata being the creeper of spiritual energy, cannot take shelter of any material planet. For there is no tree on any material planet that the Bhakti creeper can utilize for shelter. In other words, devotional service cannot be utilized for any material purpose. Devotional service is meant only for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sometimes men with a poor fund of knowledge maintain that bhakti can be applied to material things also. In other words, they say that devotional service can be rendered to one's country or to the demigods, but this is not a fact. Devotional service is especially meant for the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is beyond this material range. There is a river or causal ocean between the spiritual and material natures, and this river is free from the influence of the three modes of material nature. Therefore it is called Viraja. The prefix V means vigata, or completely eradicated, and Rajas means the influence of the material world. On this platform, a living entity is completely free from the material entanglement. For the Jnanis who want to merge into the Brahman effulgence, there is Brahmaloka. The Bhakti Lata, however, has no shelter in the material world, nor has it shelter in Brahmaloka. Although Brahmaloka is beyond the material world, the Bhakti Lata grows until it reaches the spiritual sky, where Goloka Vrindavan is situated. 154. Tabeyaya tarupari Goloka Vrindavana Krishna Charana Kalpa Rikshikara Arona. Being situated in one's heart and being watered by Shravana Kirtana, the Bhakti creeper grows more and more. In this way, it attains the shelter of the desire tree of the lotus feet of Krishna. One is eternally situated in the planet known as Goloka Vrindavan, in the topmost region of the spiritual sky. Purport. In the Brahma Samhita 537, it is said, Ananda Chinmani Rasa Pratibhavitas Tabais Tabireva Yaeva Nija Rupataya Kalabi Goloka Eva Nivasati Akilatma Bhuto Govinda Maripurusham Tamam Bhajami. Sorry for that. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord. He resides in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha, who resembles his own spiritual figure and who embodies the ecstatic potency, Ladini. Their companions are her confidants, who enjoy extensions of her bodily form and are imbued and permeated with ever blissful spiritual rasa. In the spiritual world, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna has expanded himself by his spiritual potency. He has his eternal form of bliss and knowledge, Satchidananda Vigraha, 5.1. Everything in the Goloka Vrindavan planet is a spiritual expansion of Satchidananda. Everyone there is the same potency, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa. The relationship between the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his servitor is Chinmaya Rasa. Krishna and his entourage and paraphernalia are of the same Chinmaya potency. In this way, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is expanded throughout the spiritual world. And when that Chinmaya Rasa potency expands through the material potency, it becomes all-pervading. The idea is that although the Supreme Personality of Godhead exists in his own planet, Goloka Vrindavan, he is also present everywhere. Andantara sta paramanu chayantara stam. He is present within all the universes, although they're innumerable. And he is also present within the atom. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hridideshi arjuna tishtati. 1861. He is also present within the heart of all living entities. Thus is his all-pervasive potency. Goloka Vrindavan is the highest planet in the spiritual world. In other words, to go to the spiritual world after penetrating the covering of the material universe, one must penetrate Brahmaloka, the spiritual effulgence. Then one can come to the Goloka Vrindavan planet. There are also other planets in the spiritual world called Vaikuntha planets, and on these planets, Lord Narayan is worshipped with awe and veneration. On these planets, Shantaras is prevalent, and some of the devotees are also connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Dasyaras, the mallow of servitorship. As far as the mallow of fraternity is concerned, in Vaikuntha, this rasa is represented by Gaurava Sakya, friendships in awe and veneration. In other fraternity rasa, the other fraternity rasa exhibited as Vishramba, friendship in equality, is found in the Goloka planet. Above that is the service of the Lord in Vatsalya Ras, parental love. And above all is the relationship with the Lord in the Madhurya Ras, conjugal love. These 5 rasas are fully exhibited in the spiritual world in one's relationship with the Lord. Therefore, in the spiritual world, the bhakti creeper finds its resting place at the lotus feet of Krishna. Tahan vistaranti hana pale prema phala, ihan mali seche nitya shravanara jala. The creeper greatly expands in the Goloka Vrindavan planet, and there produces the fruit of love for Krishna. Although remaining in the material world, the gardener regularly sprinkles the creeper with the water of hearing and chanting. Purport. In Goloka Vrindavan, the devotees have very intimate relationships with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The devotee engages in the Lord's service in great ecstatic love. Such love was exhibited personally by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his teachings to the people of the material world. The fruit of the devotional creeper is the pure desire to serve and please the senses of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishnendrita prita icha dare prema nama. In the spiritual world, one has no desire other than to please the senses of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The conditioned soul within the material world can neither understand nor appreciate how a pure devotee in the material world can render confidential service to the Lord out of feelings of ecstatic love and always engage in pleasing the Supreme Lord's senses. Although seen within this material world, the pure devotee always engages in the confidential service of the Lord. As an ordinary neophyte devotee cannot realize this. Therefore it is said, Vaishnavera kriya mudra vinaya na bijahaya. The activities of the pure devotee, pure Vaishnava, cannot be understood even by a learned scholar in the material world. Every living entity is wandering within this universe in different species and on different planetary systems according to his fruit of activity. Out of many millions of living entities, one may be fortunate enough to receive the seed of the Bhakti Lata, the creeper of devotional service. By the grace of the spiritual master in Krishna, one nourishes the Bhakti Lata by regularly sprinkling it with the water of Shravana Kirtana, hearing and chanting. In this way, the seed of the Bhakti Lata sprouts and grows up and up through the whole universe until it penetrates the coverings of the material universe and reaches the spiritual world. The Bhakti Lata continues to grow until it reaches the topmost planetary system, Goloka Vrindavan, where Krishna lives. There the creeper takes shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord, and that is the final destination. At that time, the creeper begins to grow the fruits of ecstatic love of God. It is a duty of the devotee to nourish the creeper to be very careful. It is said that the watering of the creeper must continue. Ihan mali secha nitya shravana jala. It is not that at a certain stage one can stop chanting and hearing and become a mature devotee. If one stops, one certainly falls down from devotional service. Although one may be very much exalted in devotional service, he should not give up the watering process of Shravana Kirtana. If one gives up that process, it is due to an offense. This is described in the following verse. Yadi Vaishnava para uti hate mata upare vaichinde tara sukhi yaya pata. If a devotee commits an offense at the feet of a Vaishnava while cultivating the creeper of devotional service in the mature world, his offense is compared to a mad elephant that uproots the creeper and breaks it. In this way, the leaves of the creeper are dried up. Purport. One's devotional attitude increases in the association of a Vaishnava. Tandera charana seva bhakti sana vasa janame haya e abhilasa. By his personal example, Narottama Das Thakur stresses that a devotee must always remember to please the predecessor acharya, the Goswamis. The Goswamis are represented by one spiritual master. One cannot be an acharya, a spiritual master, without strictly following in disciplic succession of the acharyas. One who is actually serious about advancing in devotional service should desire only to satisfy the previous acharyas. Echaya goshane yara muhitara dasa. One should always think of oneself as a servant of the acharyas. Thinking this, one should live in a society of Vaishnavas. However, one who thinks that he has become very mature and can live separate from the association of Vaishnavas, thus gives up all the regulated principles due to offending a Vaishnava, one's position becomes very dangerous. Offenses against the holy name are explained in the Adi Lila, chapter 8, verse 24. Giving up the regulated principles and living according to one's whims is compared to a mad elephant by which force uproots the bhakti lata and breaks it to pieces. In this way, the bhakti lata shrivels up. Such an offense is especially created when one disobeys the instructions of the spiritual master. This is called guru avyagna. The devotee must therefore be very careful not to commit offenses against the spiritual master by disobeying his instructions. As soon as one is deviated from the instructions of the spiritual master, the uprooting of the bhakti lata begins, and gradually all leaves dry up. So we have to defend it. So we don't really have time to read everything, but it talks about the gardener has to fence it, and there's some really nice purports about that. It quotes from the Nectar Devotion how we can nourish, and how actually this shows how we can destroy it, eating more than necessary, over endeavoring, things like that. And then how these unwanted creepers, sometimes they come, and they can be unlimited according to your offenses. So all these unnecessary creepers are described: diplomatic behavior, killing, mundane profiteering, so many unwanted creepers, and talks about that, illicit sex, intoxication, all these are there. So it goes all the way to 160. And if we don't distinguish between these creepers, then we're going to nourish them instead of the bhakti creeper. So this is very important. And Bhaktisiddhanta described them, that have been described by Bhaktisiddhanta, that he has to cut those down. So it's all described there. Very nice purports, amazing purports. And then if you're intelligent, as soon as you see the unwanted creeper, you should cut it down immediately, because otherwise you won't make it back home, back to Godhead. So, and when the fruit of devotional service becomes ripe and falls down, the gardener tastes the fruit and takes advantage of the creeper and reaches this destination, Goloka Vrindavan. So this is a metaphor of the creeper. See how the fruits are the hearts, which is love for Krishna? And then we attain the goal of Krishna's association. We're attracted to that. So this is very important. So we see the seed of the creeper grows. It goes through the journey through the cosmic realms. It penetrates the material borders, and then it crosses the Viraja River, and it reaches Goloka Vrindavan. So this is very nicely described there. So this, a nice thing from the Chaitanya Subodhini, he describes the different processes there. And this is one to illustrate the point of the Bhakti Lata being smashed by the elephant, the mad elephant. It represents offenses. It has a very destructive and withering aspect. It's a very powerful metaphor. It shows the nature of offenses to destroy your Bhakti Lata creeper. So, and also this kind of represents the golden vine, which represents the Bhakti Lata. But all these other colors represent all these other unnecessary creepers, like material desires, different colors, liberation, mystic powers, fame. They get intertwined, and they can choke that creeper. So I have a nice breakdown here if anybody would like to go and see it. It breaks down the Bhakti Lata Beach process. And this is where you could scan this, and it'll take you to the website where it'll open up. It's like an interactive website that I made there, so you could check that out. But otherwise, oh, you want to scan it? Okay, sorry. Okay, there you go. Got it? There you go. Okay, so here we go. Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhava to me. So as long as Lord Chaitanya remained in Puri, thousands of devotees came to the Rath Yatra car festival. And during that car festival, they did so many things. They cleansed the Gurdjieff temple, they performed Sankirtan. And so Lord Chaitanya wanted to spread this to all over, to the leaders of all the countries in the world. And Lord Chaitanya spread it even to Rath Yatra San Francisco. This was in 1970. And Prabhupada said, so this Rath Yatra festival is a mass movement for enlightening people to this Krishna consciousness movement. We've got many other festivals, and he mentions all the Janmashtami, Ramnami. So there's 12 months, but we have got 24 festivals as big as this Rath Yatra festival. So if you kindly take to them, then as advised by Lord Chaitanya, Kirtaneya Sadahari, you'll always be in Krishna consciousness, and there will be no scope for your frustration and confusion. For this purpose especially, I came to this meeting, that you kindly accept this humble instruction, that wherever you may be, in whatever position, in whatever condition, chant the Hare Krishna mantra. And then in London, he gave a lecture, Bhagavad Gita lecture, and he said, we held the festival of Rath Yatra, chant and take prasadam, that's all. Organize this all over the world. They will be saved. They will understand Krishna. And this is our Rath Yatra in 2014. Can you believe that? And it's still going on strong. And these are all the fortunate souls that get an opportunity to actually sprout that seed by the mercy of the devotees and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada. Jai Jagannath, Jai Baladev, Jai Srimati Subhadra. Jai, okay, I guess I almost ended on time. Hare Krishna. Thank you for your kind attention. All glories to Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada.